The idea was to show the girls who Brynn was. I knew who she was by that time. Everyone else seemed to believe all her bullshit, and it was causing a lot of problems. And so it was really not like, this is a prank we're gonna play on the audience. It was, this is what we're gonna do to show everyone what she does. Production knew about this. They were laughing. They thought it was fantastic. So for me, as the naive little lamb getting sent out to slaughter, I go, oh, the audience is gonna be in on this. We're not tricking them, we're tricking Brynn. Then everyone's gonna wake up to her lies. And we can stop fighting about dumb shit because she creates it. So it was just odd that it was like, oh wait, it's all my fault that everyone was tricked. Like, I didn't edit it that way. I wasn't the executive producer who saw it and then said, I hate pranks. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like, huh, that didn't turn out as I expected.
Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea. Hi, cocktailers. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip. So you're just hearing my voice right now because B is not here today. She's on vacation. So I just wanted to let you know that we have a very, very special guest instead. So we are very excited to welcome Becky Minkoff, fashion designer, entrepreneur, content creator, and of course, cast member of the most recent season of RHONJ. Hi, Becky.
Hello, how are you?
So great. We're so glad that you could join us and we're getting a chance to chat.
Let's do it. Let's dive into all the things.
Okay, so first of all, when we heard that your name was announced as being on the cast last year, I know B and I were very familiar. I think of you as a household name, at least for smart, fashionable women, for years and years. Can you tell us why you decided to throw your name in the ring for Housewives?
I think the thing that really got me thinking about it, there was a few reasons. One of the first things we did was be in front of our consumer and talk to her as early as 2005. We were not above her. We were bringing her into this journey as I was the same age and sex as my customer. And so it wasn't this transactional relationship. It was like, I'm your friend. And anytime technology has allowed us to continue that dialogue, we would jump at the chance, whether it was social media, which, we were first, to try, or crowdsourcing, all the ways that we've engaged our customer over the years. So when I was looking at the demographic of the people that watch it, all my friends, all these women I admire and love, they love these franchises, they love the show. And I thought, this is a way for me to deepen my relationship. I know it's been said in the press, I only did it for business. That is not the only reason. It was to deeper a connection. I was also under the impression from what was pitched to me that this was going to be a reboot. It was going to be fun, funny, with a little bit of drama, but really showcasing women doing incredible things. And I thought, wow, that would be a really cool thing to have out there. 8 amazing self-made women having our Sex in the City life. Like, that sounds fucking fun.
Absolutely.
So that was under the premise that I said, okay, great. I get to deepen my relationship with my consumer. Yes, of course, it's great for business. And wow, this could be a really great place where people can see successful women doing awesome stuff.
Absolutely. So at what point did you realize that maybe things were a little different than you had hoped they would be?
Well, when I wanted to get off the roller coaster and I couldn't was probably there. I was, as a friend of, I was at all cast events and a couple of isolated, there was maybe 5 or 10 smaller things that I was at. And, I would see and feel the building of the drama. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not going to be fun and funny. There's no fun and funny here. This is going to just be dramatic. And then at that moment, and what I had told producers, I said, I'm not going to change who I am to be on the show. And I'm not going to fight because that's not how I resolve conflicts. And I'm not going to throw other women under the bus because I want to empower them. So if you don't want that, that is totally okay. And I respect your decision. And it was like, we don't need that from you. We don't. And I was like, okay, great. Then let's do it. So it was probably the second or third dramatic scene that you're just like, oh, okay, well, here we go. Let's just get out of this alive.
Yeah. And then you find yourself in all of these on these trips. And I can only imagine when you're in that situation that you're feeling like this is definitely not what I signed up for, but also something you're not comfortable with doing, because I really do see your brand as empowering women, especially entrepreneurs. And before we got started recording today, I was chatting with you about how interesting I find it that you have so many facets. Even if you look on different platforms, I was saying the content that you put out on LinkedIn, talking about with your newsletter and, much more professional content there towards Instagram and all of that. And then everything you're doing through Female Founder Collective, which is, and you can talk about this as well, but essentially is an organization that's meant to empower women entrepreneurs. I'm just really curious, how did you feel like your experience lined up with this empowerment brand, knowing that pretty early on you were like, wait a second, this isn't what I signed up for?
So I think that, clearly it was all edited out, but I think each time the situation was escalating, I was trying to diffuse it. I think, for instance, when Bryn and Uba were first arguing in the Hamptons, and I was like, whoa, let's step back, everybody. Let's let everyone finish speaking, and do we need to go for a walk? And I could feel that every time I did that, whether it was cast and or production, no one wanted me to solve the problem. And so for me, I was like, okay, cool. That's not wanted here. I'm just going to say my opinion and leave it. Or towards the end in the Hamptons, if they could just show you the hours of footage of me cooking for everybody, because I was like, all right, we have toddlers. I know with my children, they're either tired or hungry, so let me feed them. So I was in the kitchen cooking is okay, I can't diffuse the situation. No one wants that, but here I'm going to serve. So I think that with all the facets that you explained, I try on each platform to give people what they come to that platform for.
Right.
So you're coming to LinkedIn for business reasons. So let me share with you the nightmare scenarios that women you love and admire have gone through, and also showcase and share women who you've never heard of and their nightmares, and maybe you get interested in their business and you want to support them, because I think LinkedIn's really about business.
Right.
And, and then my personal Instagram is, of course, about the brand, but it's about other stuff I love. It's about, my family, my workout program, my book, my podcast. So I think each time you go to a different platform, you're going to get a slice of this pie that adds up to the whole of me. And then I think as you compare that to, who I was distilled down to on RHONJ, you didn't really get any pie. You got someone's edit of a storyline or an arc that they had. And I think that I would say the closest I was to who I am within that show is probably when I'm telling these off-color stories and I'm laughing at myself. I'm not a serious person, and I didn't think any of the stories I told were that crazy, but maybe other people did. But the humorous side of me, I guess, is maybe the closest you got a sense of from the show.
You mentioned editing and storylines, and I'm really curious if there was a discussion with production about what parts of your professional life you wanted to talk about on screen and which you wouldn't. Because it does, at least from knowing what I know about you, I don't remember ever hearing you talk on RHONJ about the work that you do through the Female Founder Collective and, the work that you do empowering female entrepreneurs. Because I watched the show thinking if I were Bryn, I would have done a little less eye rolling and a little more listening when you came in the room.
So we actually, here's what was really crazy to me is Jessel and I planned this incredible Female Founder Collective event. We had 30 of some of the most incredible women in fashion there, from designers to creators, and we filmed probably for 3 hours. No drama happened. It was incredible. Gone. Not shown. Uba and I did an event with Melissa Wood-Tepperberg and Fern Malice at the Museum of Ice Cream. It was so fucking funny and amazing and inspiring. Gone. We shot with my daughter this part of this photo shoot and ad campaign, and you got to see our interactions and our dynamic. gone. Dinner with me, Jenna, Raquel, and Jessel talking about couples, and like you got a flashback to that moment, but so many funny stories were told that night, and I'm just like, I did share, like I'm like, it was all there. So that's what I sort of go like, I'm not sure like who I did dirty to get the edit I got, but I didn't have a conversation with production. I was literally like, what else do you want of me? Like, I'm here for it. The only thing I'm not going to show you, and it was not my choice, was my husband was very injured about a week before we started filming. And he said, I'm not going to come on TV in a wheelchair, but you can get a FaceTime with me. And so that was the only thing that kind of became off limits, was he just didn't want to go on screen in a wheelchair. And that was it. Everything else was fucking fair game.
And understandably so. I can understand why your husband would feel that way. I don't know. If Bravo, if you're listening, we'd love to see those scenes. At least I would.
They're all there.
If other people would.
Maybe they'll cut to flashbacks, except they'd have to get my agreement, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that works, to be honest.
Yeah. So for the people who might only have known or seen you through the lens of Real Housewives of New York, what do you want to tell people about who you are that we haven't seen on screen?
I think that I can appreciate what people need to do to create a story. Do I always agree with their creative license? Definitely not. But I'm a very vocal, strong, fun, funny, too nice, and I guess that's boring to people, person, and that I did speak my mind and I did participate, and it's just a shame because I thought it'd be fun for people to see who I really was, and it became like, oh God, please don't watch that because that's not who I am, if that makes sense.
No, I definitely think so, and it seems like watching the show and having watched the season before, there was kind of a slot for Jessel, right? Who's funny, but not always intentionally so. And Bryn, who's funny and honey and flirty. And I'm just wondering if maybe it didn't feel like there was another spot for the humorous side of you.
Yeah, and I also think that I don't know that being a friend of helped me, because what I learned, and I guess my bad on not asking more questions when I went from full cast member to friend of. I literally said, what's the difference? And they said, we stop at your front door and you're not part of the main cast shoots. If I would have known that Raquel needs a certain amount of airtime as a new cast member for you to get to know her. So you're going to get into her backstory and her marriage and her relationship, and you get to know her. But as a friend of, they don't have the time to do that.
Right.
Maybe I wouldn't have done it because I was like, well, if you're not going to get to know me and I'm just there for the Kathy Hilton funny remarks or the weird remarks or whatever, maybe that's not the opportunity I think this is.
Right. I can see that. So at the reunion, we saw that there was a lot of tension with you and Erin, and B and I kind of talked about this and felt like there was maybe more into the situation. Is that the case? Can you share with us a little more about that?
Yeah. So Erin was dealing with her father's death, I want to say around August, September, in which I was very much doing what I felt I should do without crossing boundaries and being annoying, sending her this poem that didn't matter, checking in on her. That dialogue continued through into November. We hung out even right after Halloween, we were hanging out. And then I guess things devolved when she went to BravoCon, the mini BravoCon in Miami, I think in November. She distanced herself from the prank, which I'm happy to take full ownership of something. I'm a big girl. But I thought it was weird that it was we literally did it together. She chimed in with ideas. I have text messages of us talking about it and planning it, and production knew about it. This wasn't some secret thing. And I was like, that's weird that she's basically saying she has nothing to do with it. And so I sent a note saying, thanks, I think they showed it at the reunion, thanks for sending me this, putting me in front of the fast-moving bus. Then she said, this is meant for a phone call. And, not a text. So I thought she meant call her right now. So I called her. I didn't realize she was about to go back on stage. So we had a very heated exchange that had nothing to do with that prank. What I didn't know is at that time, she was also dealing with the emotions of someone really close to you that had passed. So I think she was probably targeting me, even though it wasn't me. I was literally just like, why would you disassociate from this thing we did together? And then as a retaliation, she went on stage again and then did the whole like, no, I don't wear it, it's gifted or whatever. And so when Tuesday came around in the episodes, we get them on Mondays. And so I didn't check in with her when it was the episode that was the dedication to her dad.
Right. Cocktailers, have you ever walked into a store and been excited and not known where to start first because everything you see looks like something that you would like? That's how I feel about shopping with Quince. At quince.com, you go to the website and they don't just have clothing. They have home items. They have diamonds. They have vitamins. Everything I'm looking at there, I'm like, oh, I really want to try that. And who doesn't love the good things in life? Even though I enjoy a little luxury, it doesn't mean I can afford luxury everything until I discovered Quince. Quince is my go-to for luxury essentials at affordable prices. Quince offers a range of high-quality items and prices within reach, like their 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50, washable silk tops and dresses, organic cotton sweaters, and 14-karat gold jewelry. The best part? All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I love that. So for me at Quince, I have gotten one of their home items, which is a blanket, as well as one of their 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters. I will tell you, I have other cashmere sweaters, and this quality feels very high, very soft, very livable. Like livable-inable is what I call it, which is obviously not a term. I love it. I think the price, I mean, you really can't beat $50 for any sweater, but for cashmere, I don't know how Quince does it. Give yourself the luxury that you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/cocktails for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/cocktails to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/cocktails.
Because I was like, this woman just trashed my friend. Like, I thought you were my friend. You trashed me on the weekend. You distance yourself and make fun of my brand. I actually was there for you when your father did pass. I didn't feel like that's what friends do to each other, to be honest. I didn't realize how much that hurt her, that I didn't check in, and she expected me to. I knew something was afoot when I saw her in the hallway and she wouldn't speak to me before we went on. And then I got what you saw. And it was all news to me that it was like, this is the end of the friendship.
Right. Because you and Erin were friends before.
Yeah. I mean, we've been hanging out for since September of the year prior. And, we had spent a lot of our summer together. We live about a mile from each other. And so I was just like, whoa. I was not expecting that. Or if you were upset, why didn't you tell me instead of saving it for the reunion where this is like a very public situation that you're just going to drop the bomb on me,
Right. And there was an opportunity to discuss, but also resolve. And I don't feel like you guys got there.
We did not get there because I think I'm not sure what occurred or what I walked into. Clearly, the whole Bryn situation was tense, but there was it's almost like I didn't get a chance to get a word in, and the next question would be asked before we could resolve anything. I was shocked that Andy almost started it off with, hey, you and Bryn are good, right? Because I was ready to go there. So,
I mean, what would you have said in that situation had he asked that question? Or what would you like to say about that now?
You mean with Bryn?
with Brynn?
That you seem to be someone who says that they're an expert in PR. How's that going for you now? You know, you of all of us could have actually turned our relationship into like, let me learn from someone who has figured out success. Or I'm not saying I'm like, oh, I'm the oracle and you're going to learn all from me, but like, you picked the wrong person to make an enemy and you just look stupid for it. Why would you do that? And I did nothing to you. Like, this happened before we even had a chance to connect. And I just think it was a big mistake on her part.
Yeah, it really was shocking to me, especially with her being an entrepreneur as well, that she didn't show maybe just some deference to the experience you've had and the, you know, even if it's just selfishly, the connections that you have and all of that. It was interesting to me.
I think that deep down she felt like, ooh, this is going to make great TV. I'm going to go fight with Rebecca. And when I was like, oh, sis, I'm not fighting with you. Like, this is not worth my time. I think that drove her crazy. And so I think you can see all season and more stuff that happened not on camera that I was like, no, not today. Not gonna, you don't get this part of me. And so I think it just evolved from there. What?
Yeah. You wouldn't take the bait.
I would not take the bait. And it was interesting when I would read, like, people would say, oh, she's not standing up for herself. I'm like, actually, we need to reframe this because I don't even need to engage. It's actually a waste of my energy to engage with this bullshit.
Right. I'm glad that you're getting a chance to say that right now because it did look, you didn't really get a chance to stand up for yourself or didn't take it.
Yeah, it did look like that. And there were times before that dinner where I had already, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, I had already confronted her about it at Erin's Men's Gloom event. I was like, why are you talking shit about me? Why are you doing that? You don't even know me. So it wasn't like that conversation was new.
Right.
But alas.
Alas. And you're getting a chance to come here and tell your side as well, which is good. So do you have any things that, you know, you really enjoyed and that you really loved about the experience of being on RHONJ?
I think there were a ton. I feel grateful that I get to be friends with Uba and Jessel. I think it was a wild experience to have, like, to go on this journey when you've achieved a certain level of people know you for one thing, and then I think at the time again, oh, they'll get to see this other side of me. How fun will that be? I got to play dress up a lot, which was great, and we got to do some really fun things, whether it was the tennis classes or we did this kickboxing class or a self-defense class that you don't see, or we got to, you know, go to Puerto Rico, which was gorgeous, even though the trip itself was a nightmare. So there were definitely fun parts of it, and some of the crew they're really great people, and it wasn't all terrible.
Were there any things that you would say were maybe your least favorite that you haven't shared already?
I think that as dark as the finale was, nothing captures on camera how much darker it was. And that was just sad. Like, when I left the hot tub, I literally said, I didn't fucking sign up for this shit. Because I was so, are we really doing, is this what we're going to do right now? Like, I was just like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And then you're rewarded for it with the most views. So it's this sick cycle.
Right.
So I would say that wasn't the high of the time.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, if you were to consider coming back, what would need to happen or who would need to be on the cast for you to consider returning?
Oh, whoa.
We can move on if that's a question that you're not prepared to answer.
I think the things that I would ask for to come back would never happen. You know, definitely some public apologies by certain people. I would not come back if Brynn was on it. I do think she's great for TV, so we'll see what happens there. And I think that the people that told me this was going to be something different would have to give me, I don't know, proof that it's supposed to be different.
Right.
But I think that it's clearly too late, and I think I have other ideas and projects that will show women in a positive light that I'm already working on. I know these things take years to get through, but I have some bright opportunities of ways that you can have entertainment, you can showcase women, you can showcase having fun. It doesn't all have to be about drama.
Absolutely. I will tell you too, just being a business owner myself, I lean very heavily on other women business owners for advice, I just need a kick in the butt to get started on this project, like all different kinds of things. And I think there is so much room because there's, as you and I both know, there's so much more of the women helping women than the women tearing people down, that should be highlighted.
Yeah, and I don't think, the interesting part is when I put up my statement, the amount of women that replied in the comments, like, we want to see women helping women and we want to see women doing well. We wish Bravo would show us this. I think women in America and beyond actually want to see that. And if you're a smart production company or producer, there's an incredible way to showcase that. Just take Paris and Nicole Richie. Like, you were so entertained by them. And they didn't fight.
Right. They definitely complemented each other really well. And some of the favorite moments, I think, on the Housewives shows are when everyone's laughing and having a good time or celebrating one of the women for a new business or an accomplishment. Most recently, I can think of on Beverly Hills when they were doing the lantern launch and it was so windy. The whole situation just went to crap, but they were all laughing so hard. You couldn't also not laugh so hard at the situation. And that's the fun side that I think everybody would like to see more.
Yeah, I just think that it's infectious, right? And like you can have, and I also think there's enough drama, real drama in all of our lives that you could show that without having it be, women fighting. You can have the drama of I'm working too much, I'm missing my kid's performance, or, my mezcalum order, the glass broke everywhere and what are we going to do? Like there's definitely, if you seek it out, we are not all living happy, perfect lives all the time. And that could be where you get your interest in like, oh my God, how are they going to pull through, if that makes sense.
Right. I definitely agree. So if you think of this as kind of an opportunity to have a last word, so to speak, what else would you like to say just about this whole experience? And, you didn't have an opportunity to say much at all on the reunion.
No, I didn't. This is what I would say. I know everyone is tired of this prank, but I do want to just talk through the thought process and my naivety in going in, which was the idea was to show the girls who Brynn was. I knew who she was by that time. Everyone else seemed to believe all her bullshit, and it was causing a lot of problems. And so it was really not like, this is a prank we're going to play on the audience. It was, this is what we're going to do to show everyone what she does. Production knew about this. They were laughing. They thought it was fantastic. So for me, as the naive little lamb getting sent out to slaughter, I go, the audience is going to be in on this. We're not tricking them. We're tricking Brynn. Then everyone's going to wake up to her lies. And we can stop fighting about dumb shit because she creates it. So it was just odd that it was like, oh, wait, it's all my fault that everyone was tricked. Like, I didn't edit it that way. I wasn't the executive producer who saw it and then said, I hate pranks. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like, that didn't turn out as I expected. And I can guarantee you if the audience had been brought in on it and it wasn't called a prank, it was more of like a, let's find the liar. Like, I think people would have appreciated it in a different way. I could be wrong.
Would you say that the point where things went left was that Erin told Brynn what was going on?
100%. That didn't help. It made the whole thing pointless, basically. And I would also say, and something I didn't get to say to Erin, like, if you knew that this was leading me down a bad path, why did you do it? Why did you participate in it? Like Jessel shared on a podcast recently with Tinks. If I had brought that to Jessel, she would have been like, this is a bad idea and it's going to bite you in the ass. And so why wouldn't a real friend and or a veteran of these experiences be like, ooh, no, let's not do that. That doesn't make sense.
Such a good point. So before we kind of wrap, I definitely want to hear about, what you're doing now, but what do you see as the future for you? What's next?
I think it's really doubling down on everything you've seen come out since I quit. I'm definitely really pushing my book, Fearless, It is not some book you read and then you're instantly fear-free. It's 22 rules that I've wear tested over and over again that you're still scared, but you take that leap anyways, whether it's career or relationship, moving up in corporate America. And then I have my podcast, which I get to interview tons of incredible entrepreneurs. It's working at Female Founder Collective and all the events and education we give to women who really start their careers with a passion, but then they have that oh shit moment of like, I didn't know I had to know that. So we kind of bridge that gap.
There's so many of those.
Do you know I still have them?
There's so many of them.
Still have them. I'm still looking at contracts and I'm like, I have no idea what this says. And does it matter? I don't know. I'm going to sign it.
I can only imagine. I mean, just like even things like filing your company's quarterly updates with your Secretary of State.
Oh, yes.
All kinds of just little things that are annoying as crap.
So annoying.
You figure out
so annoying
that you have to do.
I know. I took some financial advice from Instagram. I was like, oh, great. I can pay my kids up to $12,000 per year. And then I told my bookkeeper, she's like, yeah, you have to put them on payroll. Like you can't, they're not 1099s. I was like, oh, cool. I wish someone would have told me that before I started paying my children for no reason.
That's really funny. Well, your book is called Fearless. It's available at Amazon and probably all other bookstores as well.
Yeah, it's Barnes & Noble, it's Target. If you want to seek out women-owned bookstores, there's a great one called Zibby's Bookstore. But yeah, and I think it's not just throwing rule at you, it's told through actual, real, cringe-worthy experiences that happened to me and what I learned in those moments that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe she's sharing this.
That makes me really want.
I'll send it to you.
We would love that. We would both love that. And then we know we can follow you on at Becky Minkoff on Instagram, and then also your Rebecca Minkoff account is your fashion account.
Yeah, and then TikTok is at Rebecca Minkoff, and that's kind of a mixture of both. It's some brand, but it's also like dumb videos and just having fun.
And then your podcast is called
Super Women with Rebecca Minkoff.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on to Cocktails and Gossip. There was one other thing that, and I actually had this in my notes that I wanted to ask if you would like to share. We had reshared something on Instagram about an influencer.
Oh, Catherine?
Who had said that you didn't pay as agreed for a campaign. And I know you reached out to be on Instagram to clarify, and we'd love to try to share both sides. Is that something you would want to talk about what happened?
Yeah. Well, the latest update is she and I are in touch. I got the invoices from her. Then I reached out to the agency, and I just got the answer today. Do I pay her? Do I pay the agency? She doesn't even know this yet. And then we're going to be taking care of it as soon as humanly possible. The difficulty being the current owners of my company did not acquire, this makes sense. We sold the company in 2022. Yes. They don't like to pay for things that weren't bills that they didn't have. If that makes sense?
Yeah, sure. That wasn't a liability on their books when they bought the company.
Understand. Yeah. So I'm going to be taking care of it. I just have to work that out. And what happened is, I'm sure you as a business owner know, sometimes you get behind. Sometimes, just to give you big examples, and again, I'm not trying to say woe is me by any stretch of the imagination. We had a department store that year not pay us $400,000 and they went bankrupt, and it was like, good luck. And so when you have that kind of stuff happen, it's a ripple effect. You don't get paid, you have people that owe you money, then you get slowed down on payments. I think with her timing, with owing her the bill, and then COVID happening, and then my business plummeting by 70%, it was like the rug was ripped out. We were just trying to pay for our website to keep going at certain moments. So it's no excuse. Mm-hmm. I am by no means perfect, but I think when you understand the ebbs and flows of business, that stuff unfortunately can happen, and I'm going to be rectifying it with her. And the agency, it just might not, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's gonna happen.
I mean, I think that's fantastic. And myself as a business owner, I definitely can see how that would happen. And something for those of you guys listening who you guys might not know this, but especially brands, and Becky, you can speak to this way better than I can, but there's a lot of large outlays of cash that you're having to do just to get your materials or get, buckles sourced from, whoever your supplier is. And you're putting all that out before you're not seeing sales on those products for 6, 8,
9 months,
15 months. Yeah. And so there can often be a really big deficit in your budget while you're waiting to get paid for the things you've already invested in as a brand.
Yeah, and I think you could probably interview 100 different founders and everyone has, or entrepreneurs, business owners, and everyone has been on both sides of that coin. And again, unacceptable, but it happened, and I'm working really hard to figure it out with her and get her sorted out and fix it, because I don't like stuff like that. And again, like, people are like, how did I not know about this? Well, I had a CFO. I was running a brand, and I don't check all the bills. Do you know what I mean? Like, I also am not looking at, like, if I were to look at the accounts payable or accounts receivable or have any say in that arena in terms of like how to structure things, like, that is not stuff I'm admittedly not good at. I'm good at creation, design. So someone else was looking at it, and it got missed.
Right. And smart business owners build a team around them with experts on the things that maybe they aren't as good at or they don't like doing. So yet again, that's I can 100% see where that is, but I think I also respect the heck out of the fact that you are working to rectify that. So thank you for sharing that story with us. And thanks for being on Cocktails and Gossip.
Thanks for having me. Is there anything that I should have shared that I didn't? Since this is the last word, I'm sunsetting my RHONJ talking points.
So we know we get a lot of intel into what's going on behind the scenes. And we've been hearing that there's still casting things going on for RHONJ, that nothing is really set. Whose story would you, besides your own, which I know you have made the choice to not share that on that platform anymore, but who else's story or what other facets of these other women's lives are you thinking that we might want to see more of, or that we should see more of, that maybe we haven't gotten to yet? And you don't have to name names.
Yeah. I mean, I really am interested. I guess each woman, I have a different interest. I would really love to understand from Raquel, like, what makes good art versus bad. There was a scene not in it where we go to my new house that I purchased near Erin's, and I'm like, oh my God, Raquel, I'm mortified. All the art is like stuff I bought on artsy.com or whatever. Like, please don't judge me. But I wouldn't even know what makes that good or not, other than, oh, I like that. I'd love to understand her process. I'd love to see more about Sai. Being a creator, people think you just take a fucking pretty picture. It is so much work. So, like, how does she decide what partnership to take? Why? How much time? What's her team like? There could be a whole almost like Rachel Zoe interaction with her and her team that I would love to see. I think what Jenna's doing now with her advising of these brands, I would love to see what it's like to take a brand and build it and brand the company. I said to Jessel, I was like, you should have your own show and it should be called Jessel in the City. And like, let's just follow you and your fucking fabulous life and your crazy kids. And then Uba, if she was willing to share all of her, what's that like? How is she sort of shaping her new model, not her modeling career. So I just think there's so much interesting stuff that I'm like, oh my God, let's show that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've been really curious actually with Jenna about her son, because I'm divorced and my children also live with their dad and they go back and forth. And that to me is something I would be really interested to understand more about how that's worked. And, you obviously don't want to get into any situation where you're giving away information that that your child doesn't want, but just, even just understanding like, oh, like I miss them when they're gone, or, I'm having to negotiate an extra dinner or trying to see him more before he leaves for college, and just understanding more of that story. I agree would be really interesting.
And don't we all want to know what Brynn does? Wouldn't it be cool to see what her work actually is? I mean, talk about like, I got shit for not sharing. I still don't know what she does. So it's like, I'd love to see what that is and how she works.
Yeah, I agree. I think I felt like the explanation she gave on the show last year was sufficient. I think I understood, that essentially she's a marketer and she helps brands and creators with ideas and relationships and that sort of thing. But we know that she's doing this app and it's a dating app, but it would be interesting to see more of that. I agree with you. It did definitely feel like, even though she did explain it last season, maybe she could have realized that there are still a lot of questions and that she could show more.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at like, what does it take to bring a product to life? So she mentioned in one of the episodes, she worked with my husband 100 years ago on, I don't know, it was Neutrogena or something. Like, what's that like to do the photo shoot, bring it to like, concept it, bring it to market? You can still show an exciting part of that if that's what you're doing for brands.
Absolutely. To show the concept on paper and then what it looks like to come to life is one of the most fun parts of looking back at marketing and success is showing where the germ of an idea, kind of the root of an idea came. I completely agree with you on that.
Well, maybe someone at Bravo's listening and they'll take all these ideas and we'll get to enjoy it.
We definitely hope so, because we have pretty much weekly suggestions for them here on Cocktails.
Have they ever taken them and you're like, yes, that was my idea?
Let me think about this. There have been casting choices or discontinuation of casting that we have kind of talked about, but I think often our opinions are where we don't always agree on everything, but I think a lot of viewers feel the same way. Like, for example, bringing Tamara back, bringing Gretchen back on OC. There were definitely two things that we had talked about quite a bit. But I think a lot of the viewers felt the same way.
So are you happy that Gretchen's coming back?
I have not always been the biggest Gretchen fan, but I think it's going to be great TV. What do you think?
Well, since you like to gossip, I just think it's going to, I mean, speaking from someone who I know who's on the show, like their feelings about it, and if what has been done to some of these people is true, like you are setting something up to explode. But I'm sure that makes incredible TV. So I see why it was done, but I also sometimes feel like what's too far, But maybe in TV land, in reality TV land, nothing is too far. I don't know. That's the lesson I learned. Nothing is too far. No one is safe. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
I've spoken to a lot of the women from many of the franchises. I'm like, you're the queen. They did what to you? And I'm like, well, I guess I don't feel so bad for what happened to me because they did it to their queen,
Yeah, I think bringing Gretchen back is purposely to create drama, and that's pretty much the main reason.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that. And, I think it says a lot about you to come and with humility and talk about this and not in a defensive way, and just to say, this is where I thought we were going to be. This is where we ended up being. This is how I reacted, but this is how it was shown. It's really good to hear more about your story and your experience and how all this went down.
Thank you for allowing me to share it. There are definitely platforms that I don't trust to share it on, and I felt comfortable with you and B, and you guys have been incredibly warm and, also like calling me out on anything that you saw. So I'm glad, your listeners get to hear potentially a different side of the story.
So are we, and I think we're really excited to share this for everyone to take a listen to and hear what everyone thinks. And we'll be happy to share that with you later if you'd like.
Yeah, I would love to.
Well, thanks again, Becky. It was great talking to you and looking forward to seeing a lot of amazing things from you in the future.
Well, thanks for having me on, and stay tuned. Maybe something coming to a screen near you in 2028.
Oh, can't wait to see about that. Thanks again. Cocktailers, it's a double dip week because B is on vacation. You just heard the interview with Becky Minkoff, but now we get to talk Bravo tea with Tracy. Tea with Tracy, I like that. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, cocktailers. We missed you, B.
We do. I don't think she misses us, though.
No.
She's somewhere fabulous. She talks to me this morning. She's like, I'm in the countryside. I hope this goes through. I'm like, oh, girl, good for you.
Oh, my God. I want to be on the countryside.
I know. I really want to hear about this trip because I think I need to copy it, perhaps.
Same.
So, guys, don't worry. Just because B is on vacation does not mean that she's taking a vacation and that we're not taking a vacation from getting all the tea. So we have been in contact with her. As you guys know, we get a lot of stuff through the send us tea button and all of that. So we have lots of good stuff for you. First of all, just wanted to quickly remind cocktail party members that we are having our Zoom on Wednesday the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern. The email invite went out this week. There's a post on Cocktail Party as well. So just look for those. Hope you can all join us. For those of you who might not be cocktailers yet, the Zooms are super fun. And I think they just keep getting better and better.
Yes.
Okay, so business time is over. I wanted to start out with the Bravo news that's been all over mine. Tracy, I'm sure it's been all over your socials this week. Let's start with what we've been hearing about Real Housewives of New Jersey, and then we'll also share what we're hearing directly from our sources. Tracy, you want to read the excerpts?
Yes. So, according to Reality Blurb, an insider claims that 3 cast members have been confirmed, one of which is reportedly being eyed for their own spinoff. It says the 3 women Bravo has engaged are Melissa Gorga, Teresa Giudice, and Dolores Catania, an insider revealed to OK Magazine on February 17th. The other women, Margaret Joseph, Danielle Cabral, and Rachel Fuda, were not given retention notices at this time. Bravo is not pursuing them for a spot on Jersey or any other side projects. And that Rachel Fuda was a strong contender for season 15, but her controversial husband, John Fuda, got in the way of her potential comeback. Bravo found her husband difficult to deal with behind the scenes and didn't feel it was worth the headache, the insider explained. As for Melissa, they added, Bravo loves the dynamic her husband, Joe Gorga, brings to the show. They find him funny and think viewers enjoy watching him do shots and interact with the other men, the source continued. This isn't something they wanted to let go just yet. And the article insider then says, as far as where the women will wind up at this point, it's looking like Jersey will be led by Melissa and Dolores, and Teresa will be given a spinoff, they shared. While fans still want to likely see both Melissa and Teresa on Jersey, there isn't a world where that has a chance of happening due to where things stood last season and continue to stand today. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple things about this. Here's what we're hearing directly from our own quote-unquote inside sources, to steal the verbiage from this article. And this is all allegedly, of course. And guys, things change, but we have some pretty good sources on this. So the 3 women, Teresa, Melissa, and Dolo, that have been given retention notices, what that means is they're being held and paid by the network, so they can't go and do any other projects for any other networks. But what we're hearing is that Teresa is likely looking at a spinoff with her daughters. But where we're going to diverge from what that article said is with Dolo and Melissa, it could look like a Jersey reboot, like Miami, where they could be OGs with a new cast, or it could be them being on another show like Crappy Lake, Melissa on Traders, etc. I think what this is Bravo is buying more time because they don't have exact plans yet. So the big difference here is that Reality Blurb article says that Melissa and Dolores will lead the new Real Housewives of New Jersey. What we know is that could be a possibility, but by no means have any decisions been yet made about that. And that, again, those retention contracts don't necessarily mean that they'll be on New Jersey. What do you think about all this, Tracy?
Yeah, so much to unpack. But
From that, I'm very happy to hear Dolo and Melissa are in some sort of contract. I do like the idea of them both being the OGs of Jersey. It just feels light and good and fun. You know, you have Dolo. She's that old school Jersey Italian woman that takes zero crap from anyone, but she's also lovable and fun to watch, and we love her family, Avi. And then you have Melissa and Joe. They bring the looks, the party vibe. They are our tie to the past. We love their short house, their new house. We love Drunk Joe. And, you know, with Melissa's new sprinkle cookie biz, she definitely has more story to tell. And these two are like perfect Jersey anchors. And whoever joins the cast with them, it'll be an easier pill to swallow for the viewers. So I am hoping it's true. If it is, I'll miss Margaret and Messy Fessy. So could we throw them in a few episodes or on the Traders or something, you know?
I agree. I have been going through since, reading these articles and then hearing some of the stuff that we get from inside sources. I've been looking at everybody's Instagrams. And what's interesting is, and maybe this is a little bit just for the gram, but Melissa, Jen Fessler, Margaret, Rachel Fuda, Dolores in and out, but they are together very frequently and post together very frequently. And so I would really be bummed if we lost some of them. I guess I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel there can be a Jersey? I think you just said this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel like there can be a Jersey without Teresa?
Yeah. I mean... Definitely. I mean, listen, there's so many, like, Cheers made it without Diane. Yeah. 90210 made it without Brenda, rest in peace. But the Connors made it without Roseanne. So Jersey will definitely make it without Teresa. You know, like, she's way more likable on other shows anyway. Like, when she was on House of Villains, Girls Trip, she's more relaxed. And dare I say, she seems to be smarter. You know, like, she'll thrive on her own show and she can focus on her daughters.
Yeah, exactly. I get tired of the queen of anything vibe from anybody. Nobody is the queen. You know, the show is not yours. Just like Vicky got pretty entitled, I think, about OC being hers. I could not agree more. I have never been a huge Teresa fan. I've always appreciated her for good TV, but she's never been one of those housewives that I stan. Not that I really stan any of them because my opinion changes about them. But, last week we talked about, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about Danielle Cabral pitching a new show about her family. I am really starting to wonder if there is a future for New Jersey, because we're also hearing that this Rhode Island Housewives is happening and that the network is looking at it to possibly fill the hole that New Jersey is leaving, because it's a lot of interwoven family and friends, just like New Jersey was when it started. So I am just wondering, this is my own crazy conspiracy theory, if they're going to try to air Rhode Island and see what kind of viewer reaction it gets and then make more decisions about New Jersey.
Interesting. Listen, if Jersey was ever done for me, nothing could ever fill that hole. And I love trying to fill a hole, Amanda. But
make any joke dirty, Tracy. I love it.
It's what I do. But and I'm all for a new housewife franchise, and I don't know anything about Rhode Island, just like Salt Lake City. I didn't know anything, so I'm ready for that new drama, but I cannot let go of Jersey. Like, you can't make me do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. I feel like Jersey can't, I don't want to continue to watch Jersey. It can't continue the way it did the last season. So some big changes have to be made. And maybe the big change is just Teresa goes on to another show and we get maybe a little levity and a little lightness back to it, because there's not as much heaviness with Jen Aiden being gone and being essentially a piranha against everybody else. But the other thing is, so we mentioned the Reality Blurb article. Well, 2 days later, they came out with another article saying that a lot of the ideas that were written about in that article have been shut down completely, that the other meaning that the other castmates have not been fired. So it's saying just because they weren't retained doesn't mean that they were fired. And to your point, I'm the same way. I really would mourn the loss of Marge and Messy Fessy. Yeah. I wouldn't even really miss like Rachel Fuda. Like she's just not. And then Jen Aiden, like,
oh, forget it.
Goodbye.
See ya. Never. Yeah. I don't know. Like, also, like, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, with Jersey, what they did with Miami, they should definitely do with Jersey because it's such a recipe for success. The OGs with the newbies. Like, I still really liked RHONJ, but if you're having issues already in the second season, you may never want to do that again, especially with, like, an OG, highly loved franchise like Jersey.
Could not agree more. Was actually going to say the exact same thing, that I think Miami did it better and that New York is really still having a hard time, I think, gaining its footing, and they actually got a lot of bad blowback. Even though I thought the season was really good this last season on New York, a lot of people didn't. So yeah, and I guess you and I are both perhaps in the position of having the unpopular opinion, but we both agree that there's a way forward on New Jersey without Teresa. She's not the be-all and end-all in my book, in your book. And if she's getting her own show, then like the Tree Huggers can watch that and focus on that.
Yeah, she'll be way more fun to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Teddi Mellencamp. We mentioned her at the top of the show last week. We, shared our love and our support for her as she was about to undergo brain surgery to remove 2 of the 5 brain tumors found on her brain. So based on what I read from her sister's Instagram post and in a couple of places, her surgery was apparently successful. She will be recovering in the home that she and Edwin and the kids have lived in, with Edwin and the kids there to help her recover. Apparently, the divorce has also allegedly been put on pause, and Teddi announced that she is taking a short sabbatical from the podcast from her podcast with Tamara, 2 T's in a Pod, while she recovers. So, I mean, this all sounds hopeful, and we definitely continue to send love and healing energy her way.
Yeah, like this has to be such a scary time for her and her whole family. And I'm sure it's putting a lot in perspective. And I hope Teddi has a speedy recovery. And I'm glad Edwin and her kids are there for her. And I also really love seeing Morgan Wade giving her a shout out at her concert. Like,
yeah, she was in the room before Teddi was going into surgery. I saw her on that video. So yeah, I agree. I think that's great. Tracy, I know you've been watching Potomac.
Yes.
We haven't. So B and I haven't been talking about it as much because, offline we've kind of discussed, and maybe we've said this on the pod too, but we just felt wrong about giving Karen too much attention after we saw the body cam videos from her arrest. V and I have been very vocal about I don't think anybody thinks drinking and driving is a good thing, but giving a platform to somebody who was arrested for drinking and driving was something we were really even uncomfortable about at the beginning of the season, and got more and more uncomfortable as we saw her continue to deflect. And then that was kind of it after seeing the body cam videos from her arrest. But I do want to wrap up the season and discuss a few things that have happened since we last spoke about Potomac. So we're going to kind of talk mostly about just the season finale and the first episode of the reunion. I am just curious, did you laugh as hard as I did at the finale when the dogs all started pooping and the women freaked the F out? I literally could hear my voice echoing in my house because I was laughing so loud.
Amanda, I almost pissed my panties. First of all, I felt really bad for those pups. So, like, if you didn't watch, there was a whole event with dogs to adopt dogs, and this DJ blew this loud fog smoke horn and literally scared the shit out of all these dogs. So the dogs are shitting the dance floor. The women are screaming and running away. It was giving Jaws in the water. It was giving Duty in the pool a la Caddyshack. It was as if these women saw the most horrific thing in the world. And then like Karen throwing up behind the scenes, like it's just dog shit, Karen. Oh my God. It was hilarious.
It really was funny to go see her like go around the corner and like puking in the bar trash can.
Oh my God. The drama.
But it was too funny. I thought Stacy looked absolutely gorgeous in the finale. I didn't understand. Maybe you did. Why the other women were giving her such a hard time about her hair.
Well, first of all, Stacey could look gorgeous in a trash bag. But I don't know. Maybe does it have a callback? I was just thinking like to the last episode when she had that short wig and people were like not loving it. I feel like TJ didn't love it, but who cares what he thinks? But I don't know.
I'm talking about the wig.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant that. Oh,
yeah. Like, because she had the short, and like Ashley was like something about her neck, and like I didn't understand it. I thought, was it a bad wig? Maybe it looked bad in person because I thought she looked adorable.
I love the wig. I was thinking you were saying her hair at the reunion. My bad. So no. I was like, no, that wig, I thought she can look good with a bald cap on. I just think they're haters because she's really like on the extra gorgeous spectrum.
Yeah.
But yeah, going to the reunion a little bit, I feel like there was just a weird vibe with all the girls, especially Giselle. Did you watch the first reunion?
Oh, yeah.
So like Giselle saying to Wendy, watch out because Stacey's going to put out her own version of Happy Eddie.
Yeah.
That was weird.
And like Stacey seemed confused.
Yeah, I was like, where is this coming from? Like, don't throw out these random like things and not back it up.
Well, and again, not to give more air to Karen, but Karen's absence was a big part of the first part of the reunion, and seeing how all the women have reacted to Karen's conviction and her upcoming sentencing was very interesting. Wendy has done a complete 180 and is essentially like, F Karen.
Yep.
Giselle, who has always been that thorn in Karen's side, it says, Karen is my friend. I'm trying to think of who else. Kay was, I think, still supportive of Karen. It was interesting.
Yeah. Could I just say, though, like, you know, Karen and the video and her taking accountability, but then still finding a way to throw shade and not mention Wendy. It's like, Are you really accountable? Or are you just trying to throw shade at Wendy? Because like that just really like rubbed me the wrong way. The whole Karen everything rubs me the wrong way. But I was like, come on, grovel.
It's hard for me when somebody has been brought to reckoning, not just with the conviction, not just with the footage, not even just at the arrest, because she's had apparently 2 other DUIs before. I have a real hard time believing somebody if they've had this many chances and now that sentencing is coming up in a week that they are now taking responsibility. I don't know.
Yeah, she got caught. What if she didn't? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or what if something much worse had happened, which is always my thought when we see these things, you know, God bless poor Archie in Shannon Bedore's car.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Thank goodness, you know, nobody was hurt, including the dog. And I know Shannon was hurt a little bit. And I think Karen was a little bit hurt. But I don't think I'm ever going to believe it from her. I really don't. And I don't think Bravo can ever give her a platform again. I really don't. Unless something incredibly, unless she changes an incredible amount. I just don't see it happening. So. Okay, I want to get your thoughts on something else because I have a feeling you'll probably have a take on this. What are your thoughts on TJ, Stacy's boyfriend? There's been things floating around. He is being paid by her. Do you think he is a hired man? Do you think he's pretending to be Stacy's boyfriend, maybe for his own gain? Like, what do you think is going on with them?
All right. So at the beginning, you know, I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. However, watching the season, I think he's really mean to Stacy. Like, he has made some under the breath comments to her that gave me the ick. And like, you don't even let her get it in, sir. Like, Like, you're not even doing her and you're being rude to her. And like, I'm just so perplexed by these smart, gorgeous women that date these guys that don't deserve them. I'm not at all surprised if he is using her. And like, Stacy, throw the stick back in the water and start fishing for better.
100%. They have less chemistry than a hen has teeth. No one's believing this. And I also, like, I'm just going to be a little stereotypical. I have a real hard time believing that a man in his 40s is not going to take every chance he can to get physical. Like, something just seems real wrong there.
Agreed. Especially when you get to look at Stacy. Throws the rules out the window.
Right. She's gorgeous.
It is weird. It is weird.
Okay, so last thing before we finish up on Potomac, we find out also on this first part of the reunion that Mia was having her birthday party in, I don't remember if it was like a 40th birthday or it was a big birthday, but anyway, she was having a big birthday party in Miami. Of the cast, she invited Jassy and Stacy to come. But then, and the story is like kind of muddled, but it sounds like Stacy arrives in Miami, texts Mia to say, hey, I'm here, looking forward to you. Here's nothing back. Still goes to the party at the time that she was told to go, and no one was there.
Yeah, this was like a roller coaster of truth and lies for Mia. First, she said she didn't know they were coming. Then Stacy brings out the cell phone receipts for Andy to read that clearly shows that they wrote, we're in.
Yeah. And then she tried to blame it on her party planner. It was kind of all over the place. I think I've had it with her in the space of 5 minutes in front of Andy. She changed her story about this. So I just can't imagine inviting somebody to an out-of-town party and not rolling out the red carpet for them, or at the very least, not giving them an itinerary. And then if you are running late, sending somebody ahead to say, hey, let me buy you guys drinks. Mia's running late. And I don't like to be late to any party, especially not my own.
Yeah, Mia was true to her name. She was MIA to her own party. I mean, and she did like apologize to the girls backstage, but she knew she was wrong. Clearly more is going on with her, but I'm not interested to watch it anymore. It's very fake. It's very confusing.
Yeah, the web of lies, I think, has finally caught up to her, and it's kind of eating her alive. Who do you think should come back on Potomac?
Okay, so Karen and Mia out. Keep Giselle for sure. And can we just mention her outfit glow ups this season? She looked amazing at the reunion.
She looked amazing.
Yeah. And I love me some Ashley Darby. Keep her. Let's see her date. Wendy and Stacy, I'm fine to say too. Kieran and Jazzy, they didn't move the needle for me so much, but I'm happy to give another season to peel back the onion and learn more. But can we bring back Robin? Seeing her on the Traders made me miss her so much on Potomac.
I could not agree more. I also saw, I don't know if you got a chance to see her and Giselle together on Watch What Happens Live.
I have to watch it still.
Yeah, they just have such a good chemistry. And I can't help but think the fact that they gave her that spot and had her come on with Giselle. I have a feeling there's probably some conversations going on. And this is not something that we've heard about, from any sources or anything. I just, I can see how these things work. Couldn't agree more. Karen and Mia need to go. I have really changed my mind about Wendy. I really liked her this season. She's a little much. It would annoy the shit out of me if I had a friend who was so all about herself, but there's something that's also just kind of endearing about the way that she is so loyal. And she has great look. I came around about Stacy, especially in the last episode. I really liked her. Hey, and Jessie, the same thing. I would be interested in seeing more. And no more Jacqueline. Obviously no more Mia.
I didn't even think about Jacqueline.
No, I know. I don't think anybody. I mean, she hasn't even been on the reunion. Who knows if she's even going to be there?
Yeah.
What's she going to do? Just be like, yeah, whatever Mia says. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mia said this. So yeah.
Yeah, no fun. No thanks.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We're having a shorter portion of this pod because we also had the interview with Becky Minkoff this week. B will be back next week. And Tracy is going to stick around so that we can talk some more gossip on our bonus pod.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great combos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.